The thing that kind of sticks out to me about Ryan Preece, and I'm curious to know if you disagree with this or not, it's never his fault. Anytime that he's in a bad spot or something didn't go wrong or didn't go right, he's not willing to be like, yeah, that was me. I did that wrong.
Yeah.
He's watching the replay as he's getting interviewed, and I'm watching the replay because they're showing it on screen. He's like, yeah, it doesn't show much there. I'm like, it shows the 60 car turn to the left. That's what it showed to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, if that was my fault, I apologize. I don't know who else it would be. Was the cougar in the car turning the wheel for you or what? Like, I don't know how you could look at that replay and be like, yeah, that was anybody's fault but mine. And he didn't seem to understand that.
The garage area.
Welcome into the garage area. This is our All-Star Weekend recap show from Dover. Only one All-Star race, just the Cup Series. The other two series were in action, though. The first time the Truck Series had been there in a long time. I don't remember when the last time they'd gone to Dover was, but the O'Reilly Series also at Dover. Ryan had a real test of wills in that one, trying to figure out who he was going to root for at the end. And obviously the All-Star race today, actually. We're recording Sunday night rather than Monday night, just due to better weather and schedules changing because of that. Before we get into the things that happened this weekend, let's do the weekend recap. And we'll start with the truck race, and all you need to know is Kyle Busch. That's all that mattered in the truck race. Kyle Busch was out front for 147 of the 200 laps. The win was never really in doubt with him. Ross Chastain led 49 laps also. Just the way the strategy was working out, he had the opportunity to get out front, but he was going to have to pit, and he just was never able to catch a caution and had to pit under green. Ended up finishing 18th. Nobody else really was even a contender for the lead or for the win. Caden Honeycutt actually led a lap. Christopher Bell wasn't in the race, driving for Hallmark Friesen. He finished 5th. But Honeycutt was the only other guy that even led a lap besides Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain. Just pretty much total domination by Kyle in that one. I'm sure that felt good for him to get a win for the first time in a while. And hey, all I'll say is congratulations to Rowdy Nation. If you're in on that joke, you'll understand why. Ty Majeski finished second in the 88. Lane Riggs finished third. Caden Honeycutt, last week's 4-time winner, finished 4th. Christopher Bell rounded out the top 5 there. There was a couple notable drivers in that particular race. Destiny Spurlock was the first African-American woman to compete in the Truck Series. And I don't really... She got loose and ended up crashing the truck on the backstretch trying to save it. That's happened to a lot of people, so I'm not giving her it. We've had a lot of people come into the sport, especially in the Truck Series, and Natalie Decker's another one. She finished 34th. That had no talent and just got attention for certain things that had nothing to do with racing. This was my introduction to Destiny Spurlock, so I don't have any idea if she is any good or not. Yeah, she finished last, but it didn't. The crash didn't make me think any less of her, I guess, is what I'm trying to get across.
I have never seen out of a racer being too slow for Natalie Decker.
Yeah.
That's the first I saw of that.
Yeah, no, it. Did you hear any of the radio transmission?
I heard.
Okay, I didn't.
Sounded like she was in tears.
Yeah, I don't know what the. It's so hard for me to even approach that subject. Yeah. She so badly doesn't belong in there, like I don't belong in an Apple Cafe or whatever they are. There's zero reason for her to be in the Truck Series. There's zero reason for her to be in a race car, as far as I'm concerned. Zero talent, zero ability to control her emotions. There should be no. I am more qualified to be in that truck than she is. And I've never raced anything other than when we used to race bicycles against each other. And occasionally four-wheelers when nobody was looking. But we'll just move on from there because it just was not a good day for her. She parked it on her own because she just couldn't handle it anymore, essentially. Terrible. But yes, congratulations to Kyle Busch. Congratulations to Rowdy Nation for that one. Going on to the O'Reilly Series race, I'll be honest with you. I had the race on for the entirety of it, but I didn't really get tuned into the race. I was doing other things while it was on in the background. I got to see the racing, and I don't know where I fully land on that. I didn't feel like the Xfinity race was phenomenally better than the Cup Series like we have seen, but I thought it was good. I still think it was the best series, but I just don't think that it outshined them like it does in the past. I can't tell if that's Dover, if it's the tire package, what it is that is. I watched races at Dover in the past. Dover's a good racetrack, and it needs to get praise for being so. But the Cup race just does not put on a very good race. It put on a better race today than I thought it would.
Yeah.
But the O'Reilly race, I guess I was expecting that 20 years ago Dover type race, and I don't really feel that I got that out of the O'Reilly series. But it was still good racing. Like I had no problem with it. No real complaints. Corey Day ends up winning the race. Only led 4 laps. Justin Allgaier finished second. That's the guy that he beat. He led 71 laps on the day. Another big leader was Ross Chastain in that one as well. He started on the pole actually and ended up finishing 13th. What happened to him, do you know?
Him and another driver, I don't remember. I think it may have been Taylor Smith or not Smith, Taylor Gray. In the 54, they got together fighting for the lead.
I remember that now. Yeah.
Taylor hit the wall. Chastain saved it, but he had some rear end damage.
Another little highlight from that was also Rajah Caruth, wasn't it? He had a couple different incidents on the day.
Yeah, him and Jesse Love.
Can you speak for your driver?
Drove over his head for a minute. I don't know.
Okay, so that's, I guess my point being, that's what it looked like to me from just casually watching that. Yeah. I just didn't know if there was more to that story, or if that he just got in there too hot and wiped out.
He just got in too hot and wiped out. The second incident was, I don't remember who, someone poked their nose in 3 wide going into 3. I think it spooked Rajah and he got loose and spun out that time. That one I don't put as much on him, but the one with Love or whatever, I think he just fought a little too hard, too early in the race for to be fighting at that point.
Hey, it's a learning experience, right? So to give you the top 5 rundown, Corey Day wins, Justin Allgaier finishes second, Sam Mayer finishes third, William Sawalich in fourth, and Austin Hill rounds out the top 5. I guess the kind of the end of the race was Allgaier leading. I believe you told me before he kind of got up there due to some pit strategy, catching a caution at the right time. That's how Allgaier was up there. And Corey Day, you could just see, was starting to reel him in a little bit. And he was making a pretty good run at him at the end. And ultimately, it was a lapped car that got in the way of Justin Allgaier that ended up putting him in a position to where Corey Day was able to pass him with roughly 6 laps to go or something like that, wasn't it? I'm not sure what the actual lap count was.
Yeah, well, 4 must be he led 4 laps, so 4 to go.
Okay, yeah, I guess that would make sense. But yeah, right near the end of the race, and Justin was very disappointed with the lap car afterwards, went to have a little chat with him. I don't know who that was, do you?
Blake Lothian. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not.
I'm guessing probably not.
Lothian?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like at least back in the day, I used to know the kind of the back markers of the O'Reilly series. I'd at least know their names. I don't think I've ever heard the dude's name before.
I believe it was only his 4th start. So
okay.
He's somewhat new to the scene.
Yeah, apparently Justin felt the need to kind of explain to him how things are done in this series. Yeah. And I saw it too. Like he entered like he was kind of go low, and then he kind of washed up in the middle, and it's like Justin's like, "Where are you going? Just pick a lane." And I assume that's how that conversation went afterwards. Justin handled it well, as a premier veteran like himself should. But ultimately he ends up finishing in his favorite position, second. After that race, we didn't do the point rundown from the Truck Series, but after this race, Justin still holds the lead, 175 points. Sheldon Creed is who's in second, followed by Jesse Love and Corey Day there in fourth, and then Brandon Jones rounds out the top 5 in points. And then all into the All-Star race, where there was 3 segments to the race. The first 2 were 75 lap segments, and then the final segment, which it looks like that's the only result that you have on Racing Reference here that you can pull up, was the 3rd segment with the drivers that were locked in, plus the guys that raced their way in, plus the fan vote. And it was only 26 cars in that situation. but it ended up being won by Denny Hamlin, who led 103 of those laps. Chase Briscoe was out front for 61 of them. I did take some notes today as I was watching it, so I'll just kind of run through the rundown in that one. In the first segment, there was a big wreck pretty early. Ryan Preece was, I'm going to say, the catalyst for the wreck. It was funny because my wife was sitting on the couch with me watching it, and she goes, "Is Ryan Preece a bad driver?" And I said, "No, why?" And she goes, "Well, didn't he cause that wreck?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Well, why would, it's like, why would he do that if he wasn't a bad?" And I said, "No, I think that he just didn't know where somebody was at." I said, "Honestly, I think that Ryan Preece is a very good driver, and he's one of the guys that kind of got here on his own merit rather than the money funding him the whole way." I said, "But the thing that kind of sticks out to me about Ryan Preece, and I'm curious to know if you disagree with this or not, it's never his fault. Anytime that he's in a bad spot or something didn't go wrong or didn't go right, he's not willing to be like, yeah, that was me. I did that wrong."
Yeah.
He's watching the replay as he's getting interviewed, and I'm watching the replay because they're showing it on screen. He's like, "Yeah, it doesn't show much there." I'm like, "It shows the 60 car turning left." That's what it showed to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, if that was my fault, I apologize." I don't know who else it would be. Was the cougar in the car turning the wheel for you or what? Like, I don't know how you could look at that replay and be like, "Yeah, that was anybody's fault but mine." And he didn't seem to understand that. But no, I don't think Ryan Preece is a bad driver. Just kind of, ended up in a bad situation there. Bubba Wallace ended up being pretty quick in that entire segment, and they had one restart with 6 laps to go in the first segment, and Bubba ended up being able to drive to victory in segment 1. Riley Herbst ended up kind of being another guy that caused a big wreck. He ended up, you could see that one coming. Like they kept getting 3 wide, and he was in the middle, and he was kind of sliding around. It was when some guys were out on old tires and other guys had taken new tires, and Herbst just kind of got himself all crossed up there and coming off of 4, and it caused that big wreck down the front stretch. That was the second wreck of the day that Chase Elliott was in.
Yeah.
And
Ultimately took him out of it.
yeah. SVG ended up spinning, battling for the lead. Ty Gibbs ended up spinning at lap 51. Not really sure. He just looked like he just kind of lost it in the middle of the corner. He had a tire down, but that was due to the wreck. And Tyler Reddick ends up winning the second segment. 23-11 sweeps the first and second segments. Didn't end up meaning a whole lot to them though, when it was all said and done. Briscoe ended up stealing the lead away from Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin could not win a restart today, no matter what the deal was. Like, he's lucky he didn't get one late because he would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Didn't matter if he started inside, outside, whatever. He ended up getting beat every time they had a restart. Briscoe led for a little while. And it seemed like it was going to come down to Briscoe, Hamlin, and Reddick. They were the big contenders. They kind of broke away and stayed together at the beginning of the third segment. And then Connor Zilich and William Byron kind of joined that party a little bit. And Zilich looked like he had a really fast car. He was starting to move forward. I think he was up to third. And ironically, this is kind of judging how good the racing was. 68 laps into that third segment, Bubba Wallace, who won the first segment, was going a lap down at that point when there was only 26 cars on the track, just because he got buried in the field due to the way everything played out.
He also had damage from the wreck with Keselowski and...
Did he get into that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had some splitter damage.
Okay. That does make a little bit of a difference then. Because somewhere along the line, I missed that he got involved in that. And I'm watching, I'm like, hey, this dude won the first segment.
Yeah, so, he had some damage.
That makes a bit of a difference then. I'm glad you caught that. Denny Hamlin ended up taking the lead on lap 75. Eric Jones kind of joined up there in the lead pack. And then the yellow flag ended up coming out. The competition caution, or whatever the all-star caution, whatever they wanted to label it as. Right there as Denny took the lead. Coming off pit road, it was Hamlin, Zilich, and Byron were the first 3 off pit road, and it looked like it was going to be Zilich had the track position. Is he going to be able to compete for the lead here? And then come to find out that on that sequence, the original penalty was that he had too many men over the wall, and then it ended up turning out to be equipment interference. When they pulled the right front tire off, they just rolled it over to the wall, which you're allowed to do, but it ended up rolling into the guy's box in front of him, and it actually impeded his crew, the driver in front of him's crew member getting off the wall. He almost tripped over the thing. So that then becomes an equipment interference penalty. That rule's changed a lot over the years. It used to be it had to stay inside the box, and now it can go outside of the box, but it can't interfere with somebody else working on their car, and in that case it did. So unfortunately for Connor Zilich, he had to go to the back, giving up great track position. Ty Gibbs ended up blowing another tire, but no caution came out. 64 laps to go. Hocevar was kind of the guy that started the green flag pit stops, and then Logano's the guy that ended them. he ended up wrecked. I had this thought as I was watching this, because they're showing Joey sitting on the apron. He's got an in-car camera on him. He's taking his helmet off. Do you think that, like Samson, Joey's hair was the source of all his powers? Because when he got rid of his hair, he just is terrible now. The guy won 3 championships and joined Hair Club and got implants and all that stuff, and then he just cut ties with all his hair, and now he's like he's running back. He's like a Catherine Legg anymore. He just don't have any ability.
Must be the glare from inside the helmet is bouncing off his.
It could be. I don't know. It's
visor, I guess.
Needs to wear a wig or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but it seems like he lost his hair and lost his ability to drive a race car. I'm still going to support my guy, but dude, we got to do something. This is bad. I also kind of had this observation as I was watching. A lot of people were speculating this could be Mike Joy's last broadcast because he waved the green flag to start the race. Mike Joy is the only person on Fox I care about listening to.
Yeah.
Like, listen to Mike Joy for 25 years. I know that he knows what he's talking about. He's old, and he's lost a step a little bit, I would say. He's not as sharp with some of the stuff he says like he used to be. He's still head and shoulders above the rest of them. Like Clint Boyer, I like Clint Boyer. I think he's funny. He needs to shut up when we're watching racing, because Mike was in the middle of a story. This was under that caution that Logano had wrecked on, and they were coming to pit road. Mike was talking about a motorcycle race that took place in the track on the inside, and he's like, "Yeah, they filled the garage stalls with dust, and they said they're never going to do that again." And Boyer interrupts, and he's like, "History lesson's over. They're coming to pit road." It's like, yeah, I can see that. Who cares? Shut up. Let Mike talk. Like, let the adults speak.
Yeah.
It's and Harvick sometimes too will make comments. There's times that Harvick makes comments that I'm kind of surprised that he said that, because it was this is the way it is, and he's right type situation. But there's other times where it's like, it's almost as though it was just his time to talk and he didn't have anything to say. And I would rather that Clint just shut up and they let Mike Joy do most of the talking, and Harvick interject when necessary when he had something to say.
Yeah. Mike Joy reposted something or commented on Twitter. It says, "You're mistaking. This is not my hand," or whatever. So he'll be back. Yeah,
he said something about, "I have a feeling this is Mike's last broadcast," and Mike said, "Your feelings are wrong," or something along that line. But yeah, that's it. I am glad that Fox is done, because I do feel like they were holding the broadcast up a little bit. I'm very excited for Prime, based on how they were last year. Everybody loved Prime, and I hope that when they develop that NASCAR Unlimited app that I was talking about, I hope they put the Prime people on that. Hamlin tried to take the lead from Briscoe with 30 to go, and he ends up getting by him. They raced side by side there for a little bit, and Hamlin ended up making the pass. Reddick ended up taking it behind the wall. He had come down pit road, just kind of lost all his momentum in the middle of two, and when they came down pit road, they popped the hood. I don't really know what ended up being the result for him.
They said the belt on the power steering came off, so he lost power steering.
And so he ended up behind the wall due to that. Pretty much once Denny took the lead, there was no catching him. He drove away at that point. No lap cars got in the way, none of that. Connor Zilich did end up coming back to fifth. That was pretty impressive. And the only other thing I had for a note was that Denny ends up sitting awkwardly in turn one, waiting for them to set up victory lane, and then just burned it down.
Yeah.
People were scrambling to get out of the way. He brought it all the way into their makeshift victory lane there.
Yeah,
so.
I did like that once he was in his parking spot and he burned it down. His whole crew members cheering in the cloud of smoke or something. That was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of those races for me because we're going to have to talk about whether it was a good race or not. I don't. I expected Dover to be terrible because it's the next gen car and it's Dover. But tires meant something. You saw it at the end of the second segment that Reddick ran out of tires and guys were coming forward. Eric Jones was coming forward in that situation.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin ran second and third most of that stage, and once tires started mattering and stuff, whatever, he saved his equipment. He ended up passing. He had to pass Briscoe and Reddick there. He got to the front, and pit strategy took him out of the front there at the end because there was a caution at the end of stage 2. But Denny Hamlin took the lead for that final, or when that. I don't remember what the caution was for. It was that last big one that Elliott was in and whatnot and stuff.
That was the Riley Herbst.
So obviously Hamlin didn't come out first because of tire strategy. People stayed out and whatnot and stuff. But had that gone green, that would have been incredible racing there.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, it definitely exceeded my expectations coming into this one. I said that Alex Bowman was going to win the race. That didn't end up happening. He ended up 9th. Some other guys that had good days. I mean, obviously Briscoe, but Eric Jones didn't really see that coming to where he was going to run that well. He finished 3rd. Austin Dillon 4th. Connor Zilic, he was a true contender if he didn't have that pit road issue. That would have been interesting. Austin Cindric, not shocked that he ran that well just based on how he's running this year, but
you also got to remember there's a bunch of really good cars that were out of the race.
True.
Larson, Elliott. I mean, you could say Hendrick has had a bad year, but Elliott, after that first wreck, drove from 26 up to the top 15 before the caution to stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then after pit strategy, then he got caught up in the wreck. So he had a fast car. He'd have been up front, and who knows what would happen had there been more cars in and stuff too also. But not to take anything from those other guys and stuff whatnot. But
were you in any way surprised by Christopher Bell's performance?
Yeah, I expected more out of him for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of odd what he's dealing with this year.
He was caught up in some of that stuff too, also. So
yeah, that's true. Daniel Suarez ended up winning the fan vote and finished 21st. Just didn't really. He'd been in the accidents too. It's a lot of guys had damage somewhere along the line. Kyle Busch, I think, had 2 speeding penalties on the day. Ended up finishing 2 laps down. Yeah, just rough day for some.
He had a fast car. I mean, he was
in the top 10 at one point. Just can't shoot yourself in the foot in those situations. Brad Keselowski ended up 10th. He ran pretty strong to start the day and then kind of worked his way backwards a little bit.
Yeah, them RFK cars, at least what I see, especially with Brad, it feels like they start good, or on a short run, beginning of races, they can go out lead laps. But as the tires wear, the long run comes on, Toyota swallow them up. And once he gets back in traffic, the RFK cars get back in traffic, it feels like they're striving to be top 10 cars at that point.
Yeah. I don't think that the race itself was super exciting as far as there was some good qualities to it. The racing was good. I would say, what do you want to put a number on it?
I almost want to give it a 7.
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking. I almost went 8 at one point, just because I think that was a little bit the exceeding of my expectations talking.
Yeah.
But I'm right there at a 7. I think that 7 out of 10 is good. The racing was better than I thought. And I think Dover needs the hot days, tire wear type races to be good.
No, they put that resin down too, and I don't know how much that probably had a lot of help with it.
That's a good point. I forgot about that they did that. The high, several drivers said the higher horsepower did matter.
Yeah.
And I think it was Chastain said that hopefully we keep moving in this direction. The tires wearing out is a big deal. The higher horsepower is a big deal. I loved the 1 o'clock start.
Yes.
Love that. But the problem is, I love the 1 o'clock start, but not for the All-Star race. I want the All-Star race to be a Saturday.
Yeah, so under the lights type of.
Yeah, you kind of have these two different ideas of a Sunday afternoon race at Dover. This couldn't have got much better. For an All-Star race, this is nothing what I wanted to see. Yeah. So I'm giving it the 7 out of 10 for that. I think that overall you got to applaud what was good. The racing at Dover, make this a points race again. Yeah. I want to see that because it seemed like the longer run of this segment 3 really kind of helped that strategy all come into play of needing to save your tires and all that.
Yeah.
So
Even the second segment,
Yeah.
whatever, you saw it even more because it was 75 laps. I mean, we got
75 laps seemed to be the magic number of like that's where it was starting to wear out, which I would like to see him go 100 before you had to do anything. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, yes, but in the same matter when they have stage racing, now you kind of want to wear out quicker, so the racing matters.
no,
more
I'm
than
saying I
stages,
wish
but
they had to race for 100 laps because they were
yeah,
wearing out at the
I
75
get,
mark.
Yeah. I thought maybe you wanted the cars to last.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I get you.
I like where if anything, I'd like to see the car tires wear out a little quicker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see them have to manage the degradation a little more. Is kind of where I'm going with that. I think that makes for better racing. But like I said, I think that this was a great Sunday afternoon race at Dover, just not a great all-star race or a great all-star race format. I do think that it's like you almost had Connor Zilic win this race.
Yeah.
Is Connor Zilic an all-star? No, I don't think so. Denny Hamlin is and deserves to be, and same thing with Chase Briscoe. So while I'm willing to say thank you, NASCAR, for the show that was put on at Dover today, I'm also willing to say, hey, NASCAR, let's do something different with the all-star race.
Yeah.
So that brings up my question that I was posing last week. How would you ideally, in your world, like to see the all-star race play out? I've got some ideas, but I want to hear yours.
Well, I haven't thought too thoroughly into
You
this,
don't say.
But I definitely don't want to see every single car out on the track. You know, I just want race winners.
Let's make a list here of things that we care about. Okay. So, sorry, go ahead.
Just the race winners.
From what?
I say previous year total till the next all-star race.
All-star race to all-star race? Or like 2025 winners and this amount of
Yeah,
points?
I'm fine with that. 2025 winners.
So the
total.
format being what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
I like the inverting of the field for qualifying, kind of for a final stage. So I kind of like the invert, but I just want the qualified cars winners. Let's say have two stages like that with the qualified cars, and then have it open for a couple cars and make it in maybe one fan vote, but not like 6 total cars that they had 20. I'd say maybe have 20 cars max, unless there was like 20 car winners. Then all the winners plus maybe 3 cars. That'd be about all I would do. And then the final segment, that would be a long run. That would be at the edge of the run. Maybe make it so it's more advantageous that they don't pit or split stage in half, kind of how it turned out. So they went 60 and 60, which they saved their stuff pretty much. So it'll depend on the track or where they go to. I would prefer not to be Dover. I don't see it ever going back to Charlotte with how things are being changed, moved around right now, but some type of decent mile and a half, or maybe even like a homestead even like be cool, because we used to have 2 homesteads. Maybe bring back a second homestead for an all-star race. I'd like to see what that looks like. All-star race and a championship weekend at homestead sounds pretty good to me. That's just, and it's a good tire wear track, so that might put on a good show. But have the same invert with the cars that were race winners that locked themselves in. Or when I say have a stage, invert stage, and then the best average finish starts up front. That's what I'm getting at. Similar to what they had here, just without all the open cars.
Got it.
Then you could have an open, I say a max of 2 cars qualify from the open. I would just do one race, first and second place finisher, and then a fan vote car. And they just start in the back of the pack.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the cars in the field. Let's kind of break it down from that point of view. So the previous year's winners plus all the winners this year. What about past all-star race winners?
To me, you got to be relevant. I would say, maybe champions at most. But like if you won an all-star race as a
So like Casey Kane couldn't compete in this race if it was your ideal thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but Jeff Gordon could.
I think you also have to be a full-time driver.
Okay, so a full-time driver that's also a champion
Yeah.
can compete no matter how that. Like Joe Logano stinks this year.
Yeah.
And I mean he did win at Texas last year, but say he hadn't.
Yeah.
Because he's a previous champion, you're good with him being in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put previous champions in there. Okay. Let's nail down the track. I really do like Homestead as an idea. I hadn't really considered that. I want it to be at Charlotte. And this is why. Because as a fan, if I was going... I said this years ago. I was going to plan a trip to do this one day. When they had the Charlotte All-Star race right before the Coke 600, if you went down for the All-Star race and then spent that whole week doing the fan appreciation stuff that all these teams are doing and then went to the Coke 600, that would be an awesome week in Charlotte. Awesome week. And from what I understand, it was before they moved it. The reason that they moved away from Charlotte, I think, was due to the racing at Charlotte. But that was because of the car.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So, if you had to pick between Charlotte or Homestead, who are you taking?
I think Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put it back at Charlotte.
Okay.
I think that's a big, because it's like NASCAR's home area.
Yeah.
Is a big thing. I think that week in between is what really helps you sell that.
Yeah. I didn't even put the fan perspective into that going down for both of those.
I like the fact that everybody's like, they all live in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I like that it's a home couple. It's not an off week because of, you're still racing, but it's the closest thing you're going to get to an off week at this time of year. So I like that it's back to back there for the drivers and for the fans. You've got everybody in town for that. And I just think that would add to the experience. We've established that. The format itself. Did you hear Dale Jr. talking about putting all the cars on the racetrack at the same time?
No, I don't.
He was talking about putting Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup on the track at the same time.
I feel like I've heard things about that in the past, but not.
Well, that was his all-star race idea. Is you're going to race all three series at the same time, and you're going to have to navigate around faster and slower cars. So, kind of adapting off that idea, I would like to see, being that the track is not going to be a variable, because you think about the best race car driver, you got to be good at all different kinds of racetracks. You'd have to be good at a mile and a half. You'd have to be good at a short track, a super speedway, and a road course. You're not going to simulate all that, because the venue is the biggest thing that you can't change. Like you go to play a football game, the Pro Bowl or an All-Star basketball game, the court dimensions are all the same. You don't deal with that in NASCAR. It's almost I hate that the golf comparison is what it keeps coming back to, but it's an individual's performance on the track or on the course. So it's that similarity right there. So as a result of that, I like the idea of putting. I'm not sure how you would select the drivers exactly, because I don't necessarily like the winners from the previous calendar year plus so far this year, because like Ty Gibbs I think has earned that right to race as an all-star, but I don't think Josh Berry has. Carson Hocevar, I don't think he's earned all-star rates yet. I think he's good. Yeah. I think that he's on his way, but I'm not sure what that criteria would be to put the cars in the field. But I want to see, like, we can't get through a podcast without me having problems. I want to see Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, for sure. Like, guys like that for sure. And Carson, I guess, is kind of a fence guy for me. I don't need to see Austin Cindric. He's not an all-star guy. William Byron, yeah. McDowell, no. Bowman, we're going to say no. Brad Keselowski, probably not anymore, man. Like, but you can't narrow the field down so far that you don't have anybody to race. Yeah. And so there's got to be some kind of balance there. Brad is a previous champion, so I guess that would qualify him. Stenhouse is just not an all-star, man. SVG is a star. I don't know if he's an all-star. I mean, if this is a road course, it'd be a whole different conversation.
Yeah. If he's not an all-star, you don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame then?
I do think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Kurt Busch said he should be in the Hall of Fame. So, me, Kurt Busch, that's some pretty high prowess right there when it comes to NASCAR. Your meager opinion over here doesn't matter to me. And then I thought of two scenarios here because I think you got to add some variability. One would be one of the segments is run on the roval, and one of them is run on the oval. All you'd have to do is move some concrete barriers.
Yeah, it's a lot of concrete barriers and tire packs and changing the shape of pit road. Probably the turtles they put in the track. They probably don't have the turtles out there for the oval. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Nah, I like it. I think you got to do it. So, being that you don't like that idea, my other thought would be that however you select the drivers, you make them race one segment in the trucks, one segment in the O'Reilly cars, and the final segment in the Cup cars. That way, you don't have the Denny Hamlin and the next gen car at 1.5 miles pairing be the dominant factor.
Yeah.
Like, they're good right now with that. And I feel like if you did everything that we're saying right now and brought the All-Star race to Charlotte and it was the same format that we had today, Denny Hamlin's still going to win the race. But I like the idea of being versatile and having to get in. I like there to be a variable of some kind. And if you can't make the track the variable, I'd like to see the vehicle be the variable. You're still racing all NASCAR vehicles. And how will you determine who gets in what? I don't know. Like, that still would be a detail to work out. But you see Bell getting the freezing stuff. You see Chastain getting the knee stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And just see them go up. There's enough junior motorsports cars to put all the Hendrick guys in.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to see you take their...
Where would the Penske guys go for their O'Reilly cars?
Yeah, you'd have to build some.
Yeah.
Is Ryan Sieg still a Ford team?
No, they're
I don't
ties
know.
with RCR, I think.
I don't know where you'd get those cars, but
Yeah.
But even that, there'd be some incentive for Ford to invest in that series then.
Yeah.
To get those guys some good cars. And well, honestly, other than Ryan Blaney, maybe the Penske guys wouldn't even be in it. But you'd have to do something along that line, and then you get to the Cup cars, and I think that your average finish between the truck race and the O'Reilly race is what puts you in your starting position for the Cup race.
As cool as that sounds, I don't ever see that ever happen.
This isn't about what would happen. This is just our idea of if we were kings of NASCAR, how we would do this.
I guess I like to think realistically about things or whatever.
That's a dumb way to do it. Like, realistically, we're never going to get Gen 4 cars back on 1.5 miles. But we love to think about that. Yeah. And that's an awesome thing to think about. In fact, I think that's maybe just roll Gen 4 cars out there and make them race those.
Yeah.
That's probably the most ideal format if we were going to make that happen. I feel like mine's somewhat a cross between realism and what I'd want to see.
Yeah.
Because I think that is a possibility to do that. Even if you had to have all of them sponsored the same, or if, say, JGR rented the Hallmark freezing stuff for that race for their All-Stars. Bell still runs the 20 Rheem or DeWalt car, or truck rather, in all three series. So sponsorship's not an issue. Or maybe that would even give them some more diversity to sell their sponsorship. To say, hey, are you willing to put it on for segment 1 of the All-Star race with the trucks? Whatever the case is, I think it's a great idea. And I'd be curious to see how that all shook out. Because you know that Kyle Busch is going to get an Aspire truck and win.
Yeah.
And Hocevar is going to finish second. And then you're going to go to the O'Reilly race and all the Hendrick guys are going to win. With the JGR guys finishing second. Or whatever the case is. So I would be curious to see how that all played out. But
that'd be cool. But,
so you like my idea, though?
I like it, but yeah.
I'm glad we got that on video because Ryan doesn't usually agree with me very often. I guess we only have to predict who we're going to pick in the Coke 600 next week at Charlotte. Is our only last item of business here. And because our picks this week didn't actually count, I picked Alex Bowman. He finished 9th. You picked Denny Hamlin. He won the race. So congratulations there. Your trend of picking winners continues. Too bad that didn't actually count for you for any points. I'll give you $1. How's that?
What?
I'll give you $1. Well, it looks like with my going back to the previous week, my win with SVG, you didn't highlight that on our sheet.
Sorry.
It's like you didn't want to acknowledge that I won the SVG. Because of that, that's going to make you have the opportunity to pick first as we go to Charlotte. So, Ryan, who you taking?
I am picking Tyler Reddick.
Ooh. Where did he finish last year in the Coke 600, do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. What makes you want to take Tyler Reddick?
I mean, he's on fire this year, so.
Okay.
And if I pick a good driver, hopefully he's up there in all the stages, because there's an extra stage too, so. Give me some.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's an extra stage in this one.
I mean, he's been up front in pretty much all the mile and a half this year, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ross Chastain won this race last year. I don't see him winning it again this year. I believe it was William Byron that pretty much dominated that race last year, but he didn't end up getting the win. Blaney is still run well. He's not run great last couple weeks. I'm going with Ryan Blaney. And I would just say that the guy that I'd keep an eye on besides is Chase Elliott. I think that he'd be a guy that I'd be interested in seeing if he could end up winning this race too. That comment might end up coming back to bite me, but and maybe this is a bad time to use Blaney up already, but see, we got Nashville, Michigan, Pocono, the Naval Base, Sonoma, Chicago, Atlanta. Yeah, so I guess I don't feel terrible about using Blaney here. Nashville's really the only other place I'd be like, oh, maybe I'd want him.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, I guess we'll see if those picks come to fruition. Hopefully you'll be able to come hang out and watch the Coke 600 on Sunday night. And that'll be a good time here in the garage area, and we'll be able to talk about it afterwards. Probably not that night because it'll be late. But but I appreciate everybody that tunes in, watches, and listens to us rant and ramble and come up with crazy all-star race ideas. And we'll see if we can get that out to the masses and see what their thoughts are on that kind of all-star race format. I guess until we get through with the Coke 600, we'll talk to you after that.